now I'm going to cross directly to you guys. There we go. Okay, guys, I do apologize for that, but we had a huge technical issue with Skype. I'm not sure what happened, but we seem to have resolved it. The only issue I've got right now is I've got to try and recover all these songs that I had lined up. In fact, what I'm going to do is, while you're talking, Michael, I'm going to actually get those songs back up again so that we can go through them. I just need to bring up there it is there. Okay. Cancel. Okay. All right. Let's get started. Michael.
Right.
Okay. Belatedly, we are here.
Thank you.
Now, Michael, tell us a bit about your background growing up in South Africa, where you went to school, just a little bit of your background, and then we'll lead up to the current time. Over to you.
Okay. Well, I was born in Pietermaritzburg a very long time ago.
Right.
In 1935. And we lived on a farm in Willow Fountain, which was a farming area that ran quite a few miles those days,
right,
up a valley where there was a little stream which was called the Slangspruit stream. And when it came down in flood every year, it used to just wipe cattle and things away in its path. But anyway, I went to a school called, the first one was Boom Street or Boomstraat.
I remember Boom Street.
That's right. And I went into grade 1, and then I started in grade 2.
Yeah.
But I don't know for what reason, they put me up to standard 1.
I had the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, I had exactly the same thing happen to me too. Yeah.
Yes, I skipped grade 2. And then I went straight from there into Harwood Secondary School.
Right.
It was near the station. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, you know, I lived in Boom Street in Pietermaritzburg.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I was on the corner. I was going to Mikelaise at the time. And,
yes.
Yeah, it was a very sort of, there was this big sports field right opposite our house.
Oh, really? Yes. Well, we were a little bit towards the station, and there used to be a shop called Jolliffe.
Right.
Where we used to get our nutties and our sweets en route from school or to school, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I had to catch a staff train from Pietermaritzburg station to Mason's Mill.
Okay.
Which was a few kilometers away. And then I used to be fetched by my mother, and we used to then go to the farm. Or if she couldn't fetch me, then I would have to walk, you know.
Wow. Well, while you're talking, what I'm actually doing is I'm actually getting our song list in the right order again.
Okay.
I've had to literally reset everything, but we're getting there. We're going well. Now,
yeah.
Michael,
Yes.
did you live in Pietermaritzburg for a long time, or did you go up to what is today Gauteng when you were still young?
No, I lived there until I was 17.
Yeah.
And then due to my father he was a train driver, a unit driver,
right.
Which has a bit of a story to it. He used to drive the units, you know. And when I was at school, we used to have to learn about tens and units. I don't know if you remember that. And I always used to get confused with units because that's what my father drove. I didn't realize it was part of the service. Anyway, I was expected to follow in his footsteps.
Yeah.
And I actually hated it because I was a farm boy and I grew up on the farm, and we used to have dairy cows as well as pigs and turkeys and chicks. And, you know, sometimes when my dad used to fight with the staff because they were drunk, I used to have to do all the work because he worked shifts. So it was my mother and I that had to do all the work, you know. And sometimes I used to go to school with miss between my toes.
Wow.
And so that was my sort of upbringing. And then I was expected to join the railways, which I did
Yeah.
as a labourer.
Okay.
And I started out as a labourer, and I was cleaning engines, steam engines.
Right.
And then later I got promoted to an oiler. I used to have to oil the engines and oil the units. And then I got promoted.
I need to tell you, the first job I had was in the railways.
Really?
Yeah, and that was that's before I joined the bank. And
Yes.
what happened was I lasted 8 days. I'm serious. The reason I lasted 8 days is because the guys, there was this one classic case. You know that huge complex they had near Pinetown, where all the goods used to be brought by truck, offloaded
Yeah.
onto this huge. It was, I think, the biggest building in the southern hemisphere. And
Yes.
you had. I was one of those guys who had a group of Africans who would load stuff off the back of
Yes.
trucks and then put them into the right sort of compartments and so on. So they went to the
Yes.
right place. And I'll never forget the day I resigned. This huge crate came through, and these guys took it. It was a working group next to me. They took the thing off the truck, and
Yes.
it had these big labels stuck on it saying unbreakable, unbreakable. And that was like a red rag to a bull, because there was like this cement drop of 6 foot where the trucks would pull up.
Right.
And these guys spent 10 minutes throwing this thing on its edge onto the ground down below to try and break it. And eventually they succeeded, and they were happy, and then they sent it on its way. I mean, just the mentality, I just couldn't stand it. So I had to get out of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
Well, yeah, that was very, very interesting. The railways were something else, Then finally I got promoted to an assistant driver.
what's that?
Well, an assistant driver is the guy that sits in the front cab with the driver, and he's got to do all the cooking, and he's got to walk through the units to see if the chambers, the electric chambers are
yes.
not on fire or anything like that. And he used to have to cook the food on a stove in front in the cabin, and he has to serve the driver, and he has to do everything. He carries all the kit, and he does all the dirty work.
Oh, wow. Okay, I've just about got these things in order now.
Yes.
I've got the South African marching song. I've got the Derek Ellis song, Our Christmas Gift for a Child. I've got Susie, and I've got I've got them all back. Oh, wow. You have no idea what I've been doing while you've been talking, but anyway. All right. Now, let's get into more recently. And
Okay.
well, in fact, before we do that, now, sitting next to you is Elaine. Now, you've
That
been
is
married
right.
to Elaine for how long?
52 years.
52 years. That's
Yes.
amazing. Wow.
Yes.
That's absolutely amazing. Hi, Elaine.
Hi there, Scott. Lovely to be here.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, you must be very proud with your husband. I mean, what he's achieved in his lifetime.
I'm very, very proud of him. He's done amazingly.
Yeah.
I haven't really achieved that much. I've just been a plodder.
No, you've achieved a lot. And I'm just looking at the side chat. Okay, guys, and just addressing the side chat. I do apologize for the glitch we had tonight. It's a first. I don't know what happened, but as you could see, I was trying to Skype Michael. Michael was trying to Skype me. My computer was playing silly buggers, and we couldn't actually communicate. So what I did was I did a restart, and before it actually shut down the computer, I stopped the restart, and that often fixes a little technical glitch, and thankfully in this stage it did, so we got around that. Now, okay, having got that off my chest, now one of your more interesting, and I think everybody in South Africa who is over the age of 50 would have at some time or other watched Money or the Box. Now,
Yes.
that was actually the follow-on to Pick a Box on radio, which was hosted by
Correct.
Bob Courtney
Yeah.
and Peter Lotus. And we all
Yeah.
remember those. Now, tell
Yeah.
me how it came about that you were contacted to set up the Money or the Box for television.
Well, I joined the SABC in 1976 after being a singer at the Johannesburg Country Club with a band with Michael du Preez and his band.
Right.
Anyway, so I joined the SABC as a floor manager. And from a floor manager, I worked my way up to becoming a producer. And they discovered that I had been in theatre a little bit. And so Robert Knox Grant, who was my senior, came to me and said, can you convert the radio show Pick a Box into a television show? So I said, well, I'll try. Anyway, I tried, and we came up with, it's a team effort,
Yeah.
but we came up with the Money or the Box show, and which was, I believe, one of the most successful shows on television at that time. We
Absolutely.
did 26 programs throughout South Africa. We went
Wow.
we traveled to Cape Town, to Port Elizabeth, all these places, Durban, and we did shows there.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. But I want to tell you, the first show we did, I had to go and get some prizes. So off I went to a guy, I think his name was De Villiers, and
Vessels.
Vessels. Sorry, I beg your
Yeah.
pardon. His name was Vessels. Yeah. And he had started importing a very low-grade motor car from Japan called a Toyota.
Okay.
And I went to him and I said, listen, are you prepared to put your cars up there and give them away for nothing to be publicized on television? Because television was very new in those days. We didn't know the power that it actually carried. So he said, yes, he gave me a bucky. And believe it or not, the bucky was won on the very first show.
He would have been thrilled.
Yeah. And we went to the other guy, I forget what his name is, Twally for Twally, and he used to give us what's his name?
Clive Wheel.
Oh, Clive Wheel, that's right.
Yeah.
From
Checkers, and he used to give us all the fridges and big boxes full of groceries and stuff like that. And you had, each box was the Money or the Box show.
Yeah.
Each letter of the title contained either a booby prize or a prize. And Bob Courtney would come along and he would say to the contestant, okay, there's your box. You've picked box number, or from Pick a Box, you picked the I.
Yeah.
There's your box. It's yours. You can take it home. You can do whatever you like. It's your box. But before you go, said Bob Courtney, I'm going to offer you some money for that box. You mustn't open it. So he used to offer money, and the crowd then joined in and shouted,
Yeah.
Take
the box. Take the box. I remember that.
It was hilarious. It was fun.
Yeah.
And the people used to take, you get a booby prize, and it didn't go well with the audience.
Well, I remember the times where the guy took the money, and
Yes.
then they would open the box, and it'd be a car or something like that, and they'd say,
Yes.
No, it was a great show. Now,
It really was.
okay, now you've had a passion for music for a long time, haven't you?
Yes, ever since I was a child. I used to play the guitar left-handed until I got my own left-handed guitar, which I have today. But I used to play the guitar and sing all the cowboy songs, Roy Rogers and Gene Autry, the rolling cowboy songs, and I loved them.
Oh, wow. And did you ever write a song for Elaine?
No, as a matter of fact, I didn't.
I think you should.
Oh, no, I must remedy that.
Yeah,
think that-
absolutely. Now, you see,
That-
Elaine? You see? Think of you're going to have a song written for you now.
Fantastic. About our love story.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, you were in South Africa long before 1994 came around. And you've
Yeah.
obviously seen what's happened in South Africa post
Yeah.
1994. Do you want to
Yes.
share with us just your feelings about what's going on in South Africa today compared to how it used to be?
Well, you know, we grew up on a farm where we were used to laborers and so on. And, you know, but although I must just tell you, my youngest friends, all my friends when I was small, because I was the only boy with my sister who died very recently as well.
Yeah.
And my elder sister died when she was 9, and she was 1 year older than I was. But my friends were a little guy called Ndabazabantu and another guy called Delan.
Yeah.
So my friends were good friends, were black people, you know, so I
Yeah.
didn't know different. But when 1994 came around, I was very, very excited when we went and stood in the queue along with every creature on South African soil.
Right.
Going to make his vote or her vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were very excited about that. And I must say, as far as I was concerned, I think the beginnings of the ANC in charge and stuff with Mandela was a very good idea. But somehow something has just not gone quite right.
Yeah.
But I do think I'm very optimistic about South Africa. I think, you know, we've got all the right people fighting for the right things.
Yeah.
So I do believe that South Africa is going to come out smiling, but maybe not in my lifetime, I'm afraid.
Well, I saw in today's news that they're saying that most of the municipalities are now completely bankrupt and they're going to collapse. It's just
That's right.
Crazy.
Yes.
It's very sad.
Yeah, that is very, very sad. But, you know, it's all due to greed and corruption.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
It's
a sense of entitlement, you know.
absolutely. Now,
As a matter of fact, I must just tell you, talking about that, I was playing the piano at the Sandton Sun this morning, and Ace Magashuri was sitting behind me.
oh, really?
Yes, with some of his cohorts, you know.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know whether they liked my piano playing or not, but anyway, that is the kind of people that I meet there. And the other person I met was the American Jesse Jackson. I don't know if you remember him.
Yes, the politician.
Yes,
Yeah.
I must tell you a story. I saw this woman with a hair like this, sitting right in front of the piano, and she was asking for all the American standards, the jazz standards, and then the songs, you know. And I was playing them all for her, and she was going like this to me. Oh, thank you very much. So along comes Jesse Jackson, and it's his wife.
Oh.
And of course, I thought, wow, look at that. And so I stopped playing and I went to him and I said, oh, Mr. Jackson, please, could I have a picture with you? He said, yeah, of course. So he stood there and I had a picture taken with him, which is, I think, on one of my platforms here somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I said to him, what's your favorite song? He said, my favorite song is Sunny. I said, I'm going to play it for you. And I did.
Wow.
Absolutely delighted.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. And,
Yes.
you know, look, I just think that in your position, if you'd had, I remember when I was at boarding school and we had these little books where you got signatures of famous people. I think if you'd had one of those books, I mean, the people that you must have seen going through there would be extraordinary. And to have that book with all those signatures would have been quite something. Yeah.
Quite. Yeah, you know, talking about that, I met F.W. de Klerk at the country club where I played the piano there for over 40 years.
Wow.
And the Johannesburg Country Club in Auckland Park.
Yeah.
And, you know, to me, he was a speaker of note. He really knew, he paused in all the right places and he spoke with absolute conviction. And I moved over to him. He came to me, first of all, and he said he loved my music. So I went to him on his table and I said, look, can I have a picture with you? And he said, yes, of course. Can I bring my wife? I said, yes, let's do it.
Well,
so I've got a picture of him as well.
We're going to play quite a few of your songs tonight. And because the piano's in a different room and because they've got singing accompanied, we're actually going to play the song. But before I play each song, I'm going to ask you a bit about the background to that song. But
Okay.
I really think we should start off with one that's very poignant, because it's about your son, who passed away
Yes.
on the 17th of April this year.
Yes.
Do you want to just tell us your feelings about that, and how it came to be that you wrote this song, Ode for Ukraine? And while we're talking about that, below these videos, you will see, if you'd like to make a donation for the Fund for Ukrainian Orphans, the information is below these videos, so you can just make your payments in there. Over to you, Michael.
Be wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, my son was a pianist as well. He played for the one of the hotels in the Soho Sun group,
Right.
called the Palazzo Hotel.
Okay.
And then he was there for 12 years, I think. And then he he became ill, and he suffered for quite a bit. And we all thought that he was going to make it, because all we got was the news how he was improving and that. And something, due to my ignorance and stupidity, when I visited him in hospital, I used to say to my wife, "There's something that's disturbing him." When I go to him and I say to him, "You're going to get better. You are going to walk again." He used to look at me. He couldn't talk because he had a thing in his throat. One of those.
Yeah.
He was intubated.
Pipes. Yeah. And he looked at me, and his eyes went from side to side. No, you're wrong. He knew he was going to die.
Wow.
But he was a child of God.
Yeah.
And when he died, I fell to pieces, of course, as any parent would.
Yeah.
And I was suddenly brought to thinking about the orphans and everybody in the Ukraine who were going through similar and worse experiences that I was doing, So it just came to me. It's difficult to explain to people that something that is God inspired.
Yeah.
But it comes to you from up there. You don't know where it comes from, but suddenly it's in your head. And this song was in my head. Write a song, but don't just write an ordinary song. Write an ode.
Yeah.
So I went on the internet and I researched what an ode was. It's got a certain formula, the stanzas rhyme and blah, 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 and all that. And so I just wrote it according to that, and the words came. The music I wrote many years ago, and it's one of the hymns that I wrote for our church, but it fitted so aptly that the two just went together. And then my friend Andrew, who I wrote a song for as well, which we can discuss later, called Susie.
Oh, yes. We got Susie here to play later, yeah.
He sang the ode, and he sang it beautifully.
Oh.
And we went to John Lindeman's recording studios. Now, John is a friend of mine. He's a bass player, and he's played with my band. I had a band as well.
Yeah.
And he played with my band for quite a bit. And he is a double, not single, he's a double Grammy Award-winning sound engineer.
Wow.
I believe the only one in South Africa. And he got his Grammys one was from Black Mambazo. And, when they were on the top of the hit parade and that, he did all the recordings, and he's done such a lot. He's got awards that decorate his hall, his studio. And, anyway, he did the recording. He did the sound engineering for it. And I played all the music in. You play the music into the box, and then he changes it if he wants violins. He says, "Okay, play me some violins, and play me some guitars." And you play it on a keyboard like that, so you play it in.
Yeah, they're quite incredible what they've got nowadays when it comes to this sort of stuff.
He's an absolute genius.
Yeah.
And so we came up with this ode for Ukraine, and if people feel moved to do so, we could start this fund, which I want to start for orphans in the Ukraine. I really want to start that fund and put it into our trust account.
Right. Well, we've got about 400 people watching right now, so hopefully there'll be people in there who will actually make donations. And this is going across several platforms, so it's
Yes.
you know, across a few platforms.
Wow.
But just talking about this ode for Ukraine, before I play it, there's a
Yeah.
bit of a postscript here, because you've been in touch with the ambassador for Ukraine, haven't you? Do you want to tell us what's going on there?
Well, we wanted them to approve it, you know. So we went online and we got hold of this very beautiful Ukrainian woman who was one of the diplomats there,
Right.
and her name's Oksana. I hope she doesn't mind me mentioning her name.
I'm sure she does.
Anyway, she vetted it and she ran it past a couple of her colleagues, and with a few minor adjustments, she came back. And in fact, I phoned her today to get permission from her to for us to air the entire thing, and in fact make this like the official launch of the ode, you know.
Fantastic.
So she came back and she said the ambassador loves it, you know.
Ah, fantastic. So
Yeah.
everybody listening, we're going to actually do the official launch of this incredible new song written by Michael, called the Ode for Ukraine. Now, Michael, I'm going to share the what everybody will be seeing with you, because you won't actually see or hear, or sorry,
Right.
you won't hear, but you'll see what's on the screen that everybody
Yes.
else is watching. And that
Yes.
way, when we come to the end of the song, you know that we'll be continuing the conversation.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to play Ode for Ukraine, and this is the official launch of this song, new song by Michael. Here we go.
Lord, be near to me each moment at the break of day. Lord, be nearer still when on my knees I start to pray.
When war's the story, then where's the glory? Killing children in their prime. Is this not some brutal crime? Is not the foe someone's son, some brainwashed youngster with a gun, who knows neither his bullet's leaded path, nor its dreaded aftermath? Does your soul not sink to depravity, bearing a bomb kit in some cavity? Does your heart not weep in sorrow? Does your soul not cringe in horror?
Lord, be in my heart each time I seek your holy face. Lord, be nearer still and grant me grace.
What monsters desire such power to force a nation that must cower, then herd them to the very brink and change forever the way they think? Is expending human lives your right? Do you count them in your sleep at night? Those widows you made from wives and orphans out of happy lives? Violence for no reason or rhyme will ever increase over time. Be assured, every single atrocity will surely reap double reciprocity.
Send your angels to guard me, to help me over the way. Lord, be near when my life has flown away.
With wagging fingers and idle threats, the world looks on with waiting jets, afraid to make the daring move, too scared the West will not approve. So carnage carries on, as news report fake messages that come to naught, while corpses mount in frozen heaps, Ukrainians bleed as Russia reaps.
Lord, be near to me when I am lost with little hope. Lord, be nearer still when I am down and cannot cope. Lord, be in my soul and take away my daily strife. Lord, be nearer still and grant me life. Life!
Thank you. Yes. No. Yes. Yeah, I did the narration, and I was afraid that my voice may not have been suitable, but I couldn't find anybody else to do it. So I had to, yeah. Well, you can imagine this was shortly after my son, you know. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, it was taken. No, it was taken by one of the hostesses, or should I say cabin crew, they like to be called, from Cathay Pacific. And they'd come from Hong Kong. And this one woman, this one doll, she said to me, "Come play something that you wrote."
Right.
So I said, "Well, it's a piano piece I'd like to play, and it's called Nature's Glory." And you know, I wrote it while it sort of the nature was running through my mind, drops of water, and you know, just a scene of the beauty of God's nature.
Right. Right. And,
So
and
I played it.
just once again, before we actually go to this next song, guys, as I say, the bank details for the fund for Ukrainian orphans is below the video. If you can, please donate, because it's quite horrific what's happening there. All right.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Now we're going to play your next song called Nature's Glory. Now, tell us the background to the song. How did you actually come up with this inspiration for the song?
Well, you know, the songs are running through my head the whole time, all day and
Right.
all night, you know, and sometimes my best compositions happen in the middle of the night, you know. A theme comes. When you write a song or a composition, you know, you take a fragment, you take a small portion and you expand it on both sides. And that's how it comes to be. And what doesn't work, doesn't work, and what works, works. But I must just quote my guitar player, Basil Reed, who passed away, unfortunately, quite a few years ago. He was my guitar player, and he taught me everything I knew about. He was my guru. He really was.
Right.
He was an Australian, and he said there is no such thing as a right or a wrong chord. There's only such a thing as a good and a bad chord.
That's so true.
It happens, you know, when you play something and you add a little stanza onto it, and it doesn't work, it will never work.
Yeah.
But if it works, you can then adjust it, and then you can hammer it into shape.
Right.
You know, composing is like, and I believe you have written quite a few books as well.
I have.
Composing is like writing a book. How do you write a book? One word at a time.
Well, the hardest book to write was my first book, but after that it got quite easy
Exactly.
once you get your head around it. I suppose
Yes.
the same as with composing music.
Wow.
Yeah, he said you sure.
Sorry.
Sure it's the same as composing music.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
You build your words. You build your words upon a theme, and then if they don't work, you know, when in doubt, take it out.
I love that. I remember that one. All right. Now, we're going to now play the next song, Nature's Glory. Here we go.
And it goes like this.
Do a howl around you when it comes to the microphone.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, hang on, I just got to shut that one down. Okay, let's get back to you. Now, I have the benefit, nobody else can, but I can actually watch you while they're watching the song. And I just want to let everybody into a little secret here that it's quite remarkable watching Michael when he's listening to himself play. He gets so engrossed. I mean, you were so engrossed in that music, weren't you?
Oh, dear me.
Which is lovely. I mean, you're obviously just so into what you're playing and the mood and the meaning.
Yes, yeah. You know something, I've developed a style of playing which my colleagues find quite interesting. When I get a song and I'm doing covers, you know, a popular song or something,
yeah,
and I play the song, I play the words of the song. because
right.
you know, when you're playing for an audience, you can see them. They're sitting there, and they're sort of whispering the words.
Yeah.
And if you play an emotional song, you can see some of them going like this. You know?
Yeah.
And you know you're getting through to them. And I think to play to your audience is very important because they are paying your salary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Now, the next song we've got on our list is called the Hallelujah Chorus. And this is from the mini opera No Ordinary Man, which goes for 48 minutes, which is a form of cantata. Do you want to just tell us how you came up with this mini opera and a bit of the background to it before I play this track out of it?
Well, you know, I feel that perhaps there's not enough of sort of classically sounding music in churches today. You know, it's jumping up and down perhaps, and loud guitars and loud drums and that, you know, which to me I sometimes feel may not be you know, godly enough for my old-fashioned tastes, or should I say for my classic tastes, as I was told by somebody today. You know, one of the staff at the Sandton Sun.
Yeah.
I said to him, you know, I'm wearing old-fashioned clothes. He says, no, they're not old-fashioned. They're classic.
Oh, love it, love it.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, so this came about, and it was also inspired. And I sat down, and it took me a couple of years, I think, to write and perfect. And I must just tell you something. It's a performable thing, and it occupies 48 minutes, which is about the time that a usual sort of sermon would occupy. And one of the churches in this area, in the Johannesburg area, and a guy by the name of Peter Moll, he came and he took this cantata, and he said, may he perform it at his church, which is called the New Harvest Church. And I said, of course, you know, but and anyway, he got hold of all the score and the music, of which I've done all the backtracks and the choirs, and they sing to the backtracks, but then the soloists sing with their loud voices. And it's a story about Jesus, when he was at the Last Supper. You know, he was eating his Passover supper with his disciples, and then from there he went on to the Garden of Gethsemane, where he did a lot of praying. And I believe Mark, who is the writer of the first gospel, I believe that Jesus stayed at his Father's house, because he said to his disciples, they said, where are we going to eat our Passover? He said, well, you go into this town, and where you see a man carrying a pitcher of water, you follow him till the goodman of the house. And there you go and ask the goodman, where is the room that he has prepared for us? And he will show you. And that's where we're going to have our supper. And so they went there and they had their supper, and there from then, Jesus and his disciples went out singing, which is also a song contained in the cantata.
Right.
And they went out singing to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus said to his disciples, okay, fine, you sleep now, because they were very heavy with sleep. And he said, I'm going to go a little bit further and pray. And he went a little bit further, and he prayed, Father, if this cup can be taken away from me, with you nothing is impossible. Please take it away. I believe he was very, very terrified of what he knew he was going to have to face. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that Mark, who was the son of the owner of the house, followed him into the bushes there by the Garden of Gethsemane, because only in Mark is it noted that a young man was wearing a sheet over him, which they slept in those days, naked. And the sheet was actually torn from him by the soldiers who wanted to arrest Jesus. When they saw him, they tried to arrest him as well. But he struggled free, and he ran away naked into the bush. And it's only Mark is the only one that records that, so it has to be himself. Plus the fact that when Jesus said to his disciples, I'm going a little bit further to go and pray, when he asked his Father, please take this cup away from me, he was the only one, and I think he secretly followed Jesus, and he therefore was able to note what Jesus actually said, and record it in his gospel. So from that perspective, anyway, I went right through the whole thing, and the Hallelujah chorus is when they discover that Jesus has risen again, and it's a very jubilant,
beautiful
composition. And I'm not trying to compete with who's the great guy that wrote the big Hallelujah chorus?
Yeah, Hallelujah.
Yeah, that guy.
I'm not going to sing anymore because how I sing is you can sing, I can't sing. I just make a noise.
Yeah. Well, so do I these days.
All right. Okay, so we're now going to play this song from your mini opera called No Ordinary Man, called Hallelujah Chorus. Here we go.
Thank
you. Okay.
Right. Jumping.
Okay, wow. I'll just get that out of the way. And I'll just stop that from taking over. I hate YouTube because if you don't cancel the next song, all of a sudden you're talking to someone and bang, this other song comes through. Yeah, it's a real pain. But, oh, look, that is beautiful. Now, is No Ordinary Man playing anywhere at the moment? Or do you have, like, go to you?
No, it isn't. But I must tell you, when Peter Moll produced it for his church, the New Harvest Church, 300 people attended, and I told him I don't want to be pointed out or recognized, so you don't mention my name. I'm going to just be sitting quietly in the corner there, which I did. And at the end of it, the 300 people stood up and gave it a standing ovation.
Wow.
Which it took me by the throat, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, when something like this happens, you can't believe it. It's quite an enormous emotional moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I then mingled with the crowd. They didn't recognize me, and I just heard one woman say to the other, "This has changed my life."
Oh wow! Isn't that beautiful when that happens?
It's lovely. It's nice to know that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the next song we're going to play is called "Rise Up," and that was written for the Teddy Bear Foundation for Women's Day. Do you want to take us through the background to that song?
Well, the Teddy Bears. I don't know how she came in contact with me. Her name was Delian Bishop. That's right, and she was at the Teddy Bear Clinic in Johannesburg. And they, from time to time, raised funds. And I said, well, I would write a song, for Women's Day, actually, because of the women that were being battered by us macho men here in South Africa.
Yeah.
You know, and so I wrote the song for it, and it was videoed by Mark Klein, a friend of mine who lives close by, who's got a production company.
Right.
So,
and the song is called "Rise Up."
Rise up.
Right.
Basically, for women to rise up.
For women to rise up and fight back. You know,
Right.
they mustn't be. Yeah.
Okay. Let's play that song now. Here we go. This is "Rise Up," and I'm sure FIRNZAJJ is watching, by the way. And hi, Calais. Calais was actually the lady who put us in touch with Michael, and thank you, Calais, because she's an absolute gem. Okay, here comes "Rise Up."
Rise up, you daughters, and rise up, you sisters, and rise up, you ladies of creation. Rise up, you maidens, and rise up, you matrons, and rise up, all you mothers of our nation. You and I are the bride, with our sweet Lord at our side. Victims no longer, we're greater and stronger than that. Rise up, you lassies, and rise up, you little girls, rise up upon the wings of the dawn. Rise up, we virgins, and rise up, we women, and rise up with all our might and our love. We must no longer hide, with our sweet Lord on our side. Enough is enough, we're calling your bluff, parading our courage worldwide. Rise up, rise up, rise up,
Go.
rise up.
Go.
Beautiful. I love it. You know, you are so versatile in your compositions. I mean, they all have a absolutely unique feel and mood to them. It's absolutely fantastic. You got a great talent. Absolutely.
If I could just mention one thing, this Rise Up was also supposed to be the ringtone for a cell phone.
Ah.
Yeah.
And we were going to collect funds for the Teddy Bear Foundation.
Yeah.
If people downloaded the ringtone.
But that never happened.
To find a guru that can do something like that seemed impossible, and it never took off. Because this is the longer version. There is a shortened version, which is the same, but it just doesn't go that far.
So now, Michael, if there is a guru listening to this live stream tonight, and they would say, "Whoa, that'd be a great idea. I can actually put that on as a ringtone option." We can put them in touch with you.
Let them get in contact with us, and Mark can take it further.
Yeah, the contact is, I don't know if you've got it, is Edumikela, EDUMIKELA @gmail.com.
Right.
Is my address. So Edumikela, edu means education,
Yeah.
MIK is me, and ELA is Elaine.
Okay. Right.
gmail.com.
Fantastic. And look, what I'll do is, just as an option for people who might actually listen to this later and they miss that email, they can email myself or Marlena, and we will put you in touch with them. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now let's continue on. I just need to get my eggs in a row here. So our next song that we're going to be talking about is really, really interesting. This is the South African marching song. And this dates back to 1993, when South Africa was looking at setting up a new national anthem for the new democratic South Africa. Do you want to tell us how this came about? Did you just enter into a competition? What actually drove you to write this?
Well, the government was calling for a new anthem, and I believe quite a few people wrote in and composed something for it, which I did, and I included Distem and Sikileli Africa into it. And I think mine came quite high in the finals. And I know that it was one guy in a helicopter phoned in and he said, "That is the one that I would like."
Oh, that was in 702.
Yeah, that was
Probably actually
702. Yeah, he phoned in and said, "That's the one I would like." Anyway, it went through the process, and unfortunately, it didn't make it. So the other one, of course, Sikileli mixed with Distem came about. But mine contains that as well.
Yeah.
If you have a look at it.
Now, just talking about Radio 702, I understand that that incredibly talented comedian, Long John Burks, passed away the last couple of days.
Yeah, I was very friendly with him.
Oh, were you?
Yes, yeah. And we used to go, we musicians have a quarterly luncheon.
Yeah.
And he used to come to that. And, we sort of mixed and got together and so on. And it's become quite a sort of it's been going on for quite a few years. And, and I knew him very well, and...
Very talented
radio
man.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And for his crank phone calls, I mean, the one classic, I've got this LP which has got his best on, and the classic one is where he phones up Gary Player. I don't know if you've heard that one, but
no.
Gary Player publicly said, "Long John Burks will never ever catch me on a crank call." So what happens was Burks phones up Gary Player, and he pretends to be the CEO of some little dorp golf club, and he says, Gary, I've got some really exciting news for you." So Gary Player says, "Yeah, okay, what is it?" Because he must get a lot of phone calls like this, and he says, "Look, I'm the CEO of this little golf club out at Naboomspruit or wherever it was, and we're celebrating our 50th anniversary. And guess what? We had a committee meeting last night, and we decided that you will be our guest of honor." And so Gary Player is saying, he's trying to explain, "Look, I can't do it because I'm tied up with all these sponsorships and da-da-da. But Gary, the ladies are going to make little jelly molds of Gary Player." And and Gary sucks all this in. It was so classic. And then Burke says, "Gary Player," and you could just hear the mood change. Gary Player says, "You bastard! You caught me!"
I want to add to a story about Gary Player.
Yeah.
My band was playing at a gig out in the northern suburbs for Trollop. Who, John?
Hennips River.
Yeah, at the Hennips River, near to where Gary Player's farm is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's still there. And anyway, Gary Player was one of the guests. And, there was a long table where all the food was laid out. And the band took a break, and we, of course... But before that, Gary Player came up and he asked me, "Please, can I play a request?" I forgot what it was. Anyway, we played it. And he asked me, "What is my name?" And I told him. Anyway, during supper, which was sort of like an hour or two later, as the table moved around, and my band and I were on this side, and Gary plays on the other side, he said, "Oh, Michael, I want to thank you for my request. Thank you for playing it." How did he remember my name?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he
Oh, look,
unbelievable.
he was an amazing man, and
Absolutely.
the quotable quote for Gary Player is
Yes.
when some reporter asked him why he was able to fluke so many shots, because you'd be in the sandpit and bang straight into the hole, and his answer was classic Gary Player. He said, "The more I practice, the luckier I get." It was just absolutely classic. Now,
Beautiful.
yeah. Okay, let's get back to the South African marching song. I'm going to play that now. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that before I play it?
No, it's just an ordinary song. I would like it to be used more.
Yeah.
It hasn't been used at all, in fact.
If I can say, I think some of the singers in it were from Mango Groove, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right.
As well as 3 of Mike's daughters.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Deanne du Preez, Kim Brett, and our daughter Elise.
That's right. They sang
They sang the backing of it.
in the
as
backing
well.
of it. Yeah.
And part of it was also Mike when he was singing.
Okay.
Yes. I was singing to stem, the
Okay.
part.
Okay. Now, okay, here we go. Here goes South Africa Marching Song by Michael du Preez. Here we go.
We the children of South Africa, strong and unified we stand. Grant to us your blessings, gracious Lord. Bring glory and peace to our land. We the people of South Africa, one nation in unity we dwell. The light of justice shall forever shine in all South Africa. Kosikeleli Afrika, malubakanisu pondo lwayo, Kiswahili tangazo yetu, sikelela onsalila, onsalseva, in our diversity lies all our strength and pride. Lord, be ever at our side. We, the nation of South Africa, who shall dare to challenge love? We, the citizens, we love this land, our land, South Africa. Our land, South
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wow. That must have been on the short list, because that was absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
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 The words are very good, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Hang on, I've just got to stop this. There we go. You see how they cut in if you don't cut them to the chase? Yeah, you just take over. All right. Now, moving on from the anthem which you wrote, which, as I say, is just beautiful. You're a very devout Christian, and a lot of your music is basically related to inspirations that you get directly from God. And
Yes, that's
we
right.
talked about that ode for Ukraine as an example of that. Now, You've got a song called Christmas Gift, A Child from God. And this original Christmas carol was written by you and sung informally at was it your home or Derek Ellis's home?
Our home.
Your home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's one of the finest tenors ever. Do you want to give us a bit of background to the
Well, he's an incredible singer. He studied with what is that guy's name?
Really.
Corelli in Italy, and he studied. He got his master's degree in music at a Texas university in America. I think it was the Methodist University something. And anyway, he was on the short list of tenors that. Who was one of the three tenors?
Domingo.
Domingo, yeah.
Right.
That Domingo was looking for in America, and he finally landed the #1 spot. And he sang with Domingo at the Metropolitan Opera House under the direction of Zubin Mehta, the conductor.
Yeah.
But to top it all, Domingo sort of took him around the shoulder and hugged him like this and said, "When I tap you on the shoulder, I sing. When I don't, you sing." And then he finally says, "You wait here on the stage at the Metropolitan Opera House."
Yeah.
He walked down, he took the baton from Zubin Mehta, and he conducted Derek Ellis singing Granada.
Wow.
Well, Derek said from then on his life went downhill.
So you couldn't beat that. You couldn't beat that.
Yeah, I must say that this song does not do justice to his voice. He has the most incredibly beautiful voice. And we tried to get it, John Lindemann and I tried to get him sort of on the planks and get him out there, you know, but some record companies are very dubious. And so that didn't happen either.
Well, there's a fellow who comes and jams on our live streams from time to time.
Yes.
And his name is Winston Coetzee. And
Oh,
Winston has got the most incredible operatic voice. I mean, he
Really?
can sing anything from, what's that, Numde...
Nessendorma.
Yeah, Messendorma. And,
Yeah.
you know, just an absolutely beautiful voice. He's got a trained operatic voice. And,
Yeah.
you know, I would love to see him and this
Derek.
fellow, Derek Ellis, singing together. That would be quite extraordinary.
Well, who knows? Maybe something can be arranged, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would. So you're in touch with Derek?
We are to a certain extent, yes.
Yeah, he's a pilot as well. I think he flies. I can't remember who he flies for,
Yeah.
but he flies for a private person who's got a couple of airplanes. And Derek, flying is his passion as well as singing. Singing, I think, is more his passion.
So we'll have to call him the singing pilot then.
Yeah. Yeah, he's all over the world.
He's sung all
and-
over the world. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
you know what. You know what
Sorry?
comes to mind is our resident pastor on Loving Life. His name is Dan Berryman. Now he used to be a pilot, and he now gets on Flight Simulator, and he flies around on Flight Simulator, which
really?
is sort of
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
similar type of thing. And he just came to mind when you were talking about Derek, you know, being
Yes.
a pilot and so on. All right, let's listen to this song, which is called, where are we?
Christmas Gift.
Gift, A Child from God. Here we go.
Okay, this is a new Christmas carol, and it's sung by Derek Ellis.
Oh, yeah.
Branch of Jesse, stem and bud, oh joy for all the Christmas gift, a child from God, for all mankind to share. Oh
down to us. For to come again.
Resist all your spirit of wisdom, your spirit of truth and of knowledge and light. Who can resist all your grace and compassion, your spirit of love and your wondrous light? O Son of David, Son of Man, you'll soon be back to stand. O Christ, our Christmas, God's own plan, the truth, the light, the way. O Jesus, you came down to earth and are to come again. Our promise of eternal hope and of eternal reign. Who can resist all your spirit of wisdom, your spirit of truth and of knowledge and light? Who can resist all your grace and compassion, your spirit of love and your wondrous light?
Yeah, go.
Beautiful. Okay. Now, I've got to tell you,
A concrete landmark from a bygone
sorry about that. It's that stupid thing kicking in again. Now, I've got to tell you, there were a couple of times in that song where we actually had a duet happening.
Oh, really? Yeah.
When you broke into song.
Yes. Oh, could you hear me?
Oh, yeah, of course we can. we can hear everything.
Oh, really?
There are no secrets on live streams.
Wow, I better watch myself.
Now, let's move on to the next song, which is called Susie. And tell us a bit of the background to Susie, because it's a love story, isn't it?
It is. Well, the person who sang the ode for Ukraine is a guy by the name of Andrew Evans. He's a piano pupil of mine,
Right.
who also sings. And Derek, in fact, trained him in singing. And I said to him one day, "Tell me your story, and I'll write a song for you."
Oh,
So
lovely.
he told me the story about Susie, his partner, and when she went away to Durban, how he had to fly down there every weekend to go and visit her, and so on. So I wrote him the song, and he sang it. He sang the song, and as a matter of fact, he did the video of this last song with Derek Ellis. He did the video on his telephone.
Wow.
You know, yeah. So yeah, that is Andrew Evans. He's a lovely guy. He's a fellow of the accounting profession, and we are great friends. You know, and he also did the compilation of the photographs of the ode for Ukraine.
Wow. Okay. Well, you've got a close-knit team, and that's fantastic. We've got the same
Yes,
thing here
yes.
on Loving Life
Yeah.
TV. We've got an amazing team. All right, let's listen to Susie. Here it comes.
Okay, go, leave it.
Did I first meet Susie as an answer to my prayer? We would go ballooning in the sky, in the silence as the golden sunlight stroked her hair. We would hear the swallows wafting by. midnight oil would burn till the break of day. I was losing all my sanity. Some would call her Susan, others call her Sue. She's just my Susie. What else can I do? When she looks into my eyes, there's a hazy hue. Everybody loves my Susie, so would you. Throwing caution to the ground, I got onto a plane. Every weekend we were on a spree. 21 years later, and our love is still insane. Celebrating love's sweet rhapsody. Some would call her Susan, others call her Sue. She's just my Susie. What else can I do? When she looks into my eyes, there's a hazy hue. Everybody loves my Susie, so would you.
Everybody loves your Susie.
So would you. Everybody loves my Susie, so would you.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Now, we got, hang on, let me just shut that one down. Trying to take over again. Now, we got one last song to go, Michael, and that is called Justice of the Wild, which is to do with a book. Do you want to give us a background to that song before we play it?
Well, Justice of the Wild is a story about, my wife and I lived in Chartwell at one stage, close to the then Lion Park, which was close by.
Yes.
And, one day the neighbor's son, a 16-year-old youngster, came over and he said he saw a lioness in the empty 7-acre plot next door to ours.
Wow.
And we phoned the Lion Park and they said, no, they definitely are not missing any lions. And yet that evening they brought a lion cage, catching cage, and they spent the evening, not the evening, the whole night on the plot next door with bait in this lion thing. So that generated a story of canned lion hunting, and it's just an adventure story for young and old adults, young adults and old adults.
Yeah.
And I wrote a song to promote it. And that's a song here that, that is now...
Was Michael singing it as well?
Yeah, and I'm singing it as well, a little bit.
All right. All right, well, let's play Justice of the Wild. Here we go.
I think we've got to watch the time.
This is a sad, sad story. This is a sad, sad song. Some would suppose it's too gory, but others wouldn't think it's wrong. Doggone, it's not wrong, it's a song. Doggone. He was a mighty lion, king over his domain. He ruled his pride in bright sunshine, and often in the pouring rain. Da-do-dum, in the rain, without pain. Hunters arrive in convoy, so very brave are they, waving their rifles to destroy and gather trophies for display. They came with tons of arms and guns with
was so chilling, watching her killing, taking so long and slow. Oh, oh, oh. It was slow. Who but the brave and daring, who cannot be defiled, eager to stop the snaring and seek justice for the wild. One day we'll rise, realize the prize has vanished. Hunting for food is passé. The mountain head of the lion in your den should be banished. Let's all be willing, stop all this killing. Live and let live is okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's okay for today. It's okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Great. Now, Michael, we've gone through all your songs. It's been lovely chatting to you. And look, I just want to say, hang on, let me get rid of this. It's YouTube doing this trick again. I just want to say thank you so much for being on our platform tonight and talking to us. And Elaine, it's been lovely to see you as well. I have to tell you, there are a lot of comments in the side chat saying they make such a beautiful couple.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the chat. It just flew by. I was very worried that I was going to sit here tongue-tied because I'm sort of quite a shy person, you know, basically.
Yeah. No, it was a great live stream, and I just want to say that because I have the power when it comes to videos to edit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit out that little technical piece that I had that problem. So it'll flow perfectly all the way through. I'll just take that stuff out. And
Thank you very much.
That'll be done by when you get up in the morning. And I'll put the link in the side chat of Skype so you can go and watch, and you'll hear the songs as well, not just the video.
Yes.
Thank you. There are a few friends of ours who are a bit technically challenged, and some of them don't have computers, believe it or not. So they would be wanting to watch this, and they were disappointed that they were not going to be able to. So it'll be wonderful if one can just give a link to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
With it, you know.
Absolutely, we can do that. But
thank you very much, Scott, for being such a wonderful and easy to speak to interviewer. It really is incredible.
Well, it's lovely. What I love about live streams is that they just flow, and
they do. They certainly do.
Yeah,
but you got to have the right guy behind the microphone.
Absolutely. And thank you to Mikelaise for the introduction.
Yeah.
Thank you, and very much. By the way, this audio book is narrated by Michael McGovern, who was a very good friend of mine, and he used to sing as well. We used to do play around, and I used to play for him, and he used to sing for public performances and so on.
Right.
He was a name to be contended with in South Africa from the 60s to probably the early 2000s, you know.
Yeah.
And I just want to go out by just reminding people that below this video in the description are some bank account details. If you are able to, please make a donation. It's for the Ukrainian Orphans, and it's a fund that Michael has set up, and yeah, please support that if you're able to.
Yeah, and then we would get it to the Ukrainian embassy.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Scott.
You're very, very
Thank you.
welcome, Michael, and lovely to meet you both. And
And speaking to you, you were wonderful. Thank you.
thank you. And I just noticed in the side chat that one of our regular viewers, her name is Liz, she says, me and my husband and I have been married for 53 years. So I think there's a bit of one-upmanship going there.
You're obviously in good company.
You are, absolutely. Look, most of our people follow Loving Life are probably over 40 years old, because I'm in the older generation, so that tends to be our target audience.
And may I just say one thing? I'd like to say thank you for all my children, Deanne and Mark and Laura and Kim and Elise, for watching, and my sons-in-law and Eric and Brent and all the rest of our friends. Thank you very, very much indeed. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Scott.
Okay, take care, and lovely to meet you both.
And you
Thank
too.
you, Scott. All the best.
Okay,
Thank
bye,
you.
bye for now.
Bye-bye now.
Okay, guys, that was the lovely couple, Michael and his lovely wife Elaine, who've been married for 52 years, and what a joy to listen to original music, and what a talented man Michael is. Oh, he must have met so many interesting people. That's what I really envy about entertainers. And think of it, the Sandton Sun Hotel, he's there every day from 9 o'clock to midday. So if you want to go and listen to Michael play on the piano, just go to the Sandton Sun Hotel and just relax and listen to his beautiful piano music. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live stream now. Thanks to the moderators for keeping an eye on the side chat. Have a great evening, guys, and I will just leave the side chat open for a couple of minutes before wrapping this up. Bye for now.